ever stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready? Let me be honest, I don't know a single thing that I haven't done to make.
Today is June 26th of 2020, Friday of the 12th week in Ordinary Time, and you are tuned into Deacons Discussions Drinks.
And playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deacons Discussions and Drinks. I'm Deacon Tim Stout.
I'm Deacon Dallas Kelly.
I'm following Wynn.
And tonight we're coming to you from Cardome, just outside of the recording studio in the chapel. And you ask why? Well, tonight for the first time we have two live guests with us, and we needed some more room. Right, guys?
Social distant, baby.
We wanted to spread out a little bit. So tonight we have Miss Denise Whittington with us.
Hello.
And
Good
Miss
evening.
Katharine Coleman.
Hello.
Two women who help make our parish a dynamic and exciting place to worship and grow in faith. So please join us in welcoming them to the program. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We're not going to put you on the spot and start asking you questions right away, unless you want us to. Because we can do that.
But we will.
Well, we will get to that for sure, but we'd like to start the episode with just current events, and that helps kind of maybe bring up some topics that we can talk about, or it just breaks the ice, whichever way you want to go about it. And Father Lynn never has one to start with.
Really?
You have one?
Of course I got one.
Okay, then you get to go first. First time.
Well, apparently, besides they want to torn out all statues, they want to knock down the Mount Rushmore as well.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
I
haven't heard that one.
Oh, yeah.
Just one of the images or all of them?
I think all of them.
Okay.
Well, I'm speechless. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think you can erase history. History is an important part of who we are and how we got here. Obviously, history has its good points and it has its bad points, right? And if we start tearing down statues, does that mean we want to erase our history? Shouldn't we learn from our history? Is that your point, Father?
Exactly. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, they also attacked or did tear down Sarah's.
Juniper. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just a crazy time we're living in. Nothing surprises me anymore. Steve and I were talking beforehand. You know, where does it end? So, hopefully, once we get through this election, I think this election has a lot to do with it. Once we get through the election, then we can kind of settle into whatever the new normal is going to be. Dallas, I know you got something. Is it compatible or is it completely different from that?
Completely different. Okay. The title is Frenchtown Band's prayer procession started in the 1340s to ward off the plague. I mean, that was how it started, to ward off the plague back in 1340. For the first time since the 14th century, a Catholic procession that takes place every year on the eve of the feast of St. John the Baptist in the town of Tully was officially banned by civil authorities under the pretext of the COVID-19 regulations. Local residents were shocked and surprised to learn hours before the march was to take place that the local prefect, the government's representative in the 100 or so departments of France, had decided not to allow it to go ahead. Ironically, the Luna, as the procession is called because it takes place at nightfall when the moon becomes visible, first took place around 1340 when Tula, a town of 6,000 souls that had been occupied some years earlier by the English, was suffering from famine and a great mortality rate. According to oral tradition, a monk of the diocese was praying in the cathedral for the town that was going through so much hardship when he received a vision of St. John the Baptist asking him to organize a march around the city that would ward off the plague. This is the first time it even was processed through the French Revolution. First time in 600 or 700 years.
Wow.
But the Passion Play in Germany too. They do it one every 10 years. The reason that town did that play once every 10 years in honor to ward off the plague, the Black Plague. And over 600 years they did that, every 10 years. This time they canceled it because of a plague. Go figure.
Well, I'm going to compliment that with one of the things. I'm reading the biography of George Washington. So, and during his presidency, they battled the yellow fever and wiped out lots and lots of people. But just reading how they dealt with it, we always think we're unique, right? What we're doing in our time frame.
Nothing new.
Nothing. There's nothing new. They shut down lots of the government, did all kinds of different stuff, but a lot more people died as a percentage of the population at the time. So there's just nothing different or new that happens in this world that hasn't really happened before. Agree?
Agree. So when you're done reading about him, are you going to tear his statue down?
No, but it's interesting because the book, I'm towards the end of the book, it's a big book. I'm listening to it. I listened to it on the way back and forth to the mine, and I think there's like 70 chapters. I mean, it's 65 hours, I think, of listening. So it's taken a long time.
Oh, your vacation coming up, right?
No, I'm almost done with it. I've been listening to it for a year, so it's really good. But just listening to them talk about slavery and his position on slavery is unique because he was for emancipation, but because of the culture, the way the culture was, and what it was very much for Washington. And I'm reading into what I'm reading. It's my interpretation of what I'm reading. For him, it was about economy, is all it was about, and there was a lot of protest at the time because they were using slave labor to build the Capitol. And they didn't have people to build. That's what the slaves did. They built and formed the economy. And he was against it. But in the same breath, it's interesting that he had slaves that escaped, ran away from him. Two of them, particularly a woman and a man. I forget what the woman's name was. Hercules was the man, and he let the woman go. Wasn't interested in finding her, but and they just didn't understand. It's interesting to hear their rationalization, how they rationalize that, because they were prolific writers. He had 87 chests of documents related to the Revolutionary War. So everything they did, they wrote down. And so they have all these writings. And they just didn't understand why the slaves wanted to be free when they felt like they gave them so much. And even the other slaves, the slaves that escaped, and they would run into people in the northern part and say, well, why would you want to leave George Washington? I mean, you had it great. And it's the thing that we all want, that we all have, that we want so much, is freedom, right? So it's just interesting to read about that, and just gives you a different perspective on things, for sure. So, but they will come for Washington. There's no doubt in my mind.
They will come.
They will come. Yeah, Jefferson, Washington, Hamilton. But it was the culture at the time, and that's the thing that I struggle with the most is if you're in that, it obviously takes time to make changes to culture. Mm-hmm. You just can't. And I think that's what we're going through now. We're going through a culture change. And I think that's why it's so painful.
Yeah, you want to watch a great movie. I think it's Amazing Grace, about when England did away with slavery. And somebody want to help me with his name. Is it William Wilberforce or something like that?
Amazing Grace.
Yeah. Watch the movie. It's a long, long process. And I believe his name is Wilberforce, or it's close to that. And he was the man behind it over years, trying to get rid of it.
He wrote that song, right?
What song?
There's a conversion of heart.
Oh, I don't know if that. I don't know anything about the song. You may know a song, Amazing Grace. Two music people here. Come on.
Not sure who wrote it.
The Amazing Grace he was a slave trader, and he had a conversion while he shipped the people.
Wilberforce.
Wilberforce, right?
William Wilberforce.
But
That's what the Amazing Grace.
But
came
I don't
from.
think he was a slave trader himself, William. He was just in the legislation trying to get it passed year after year. But it's a fantastic movie.
No, that's where the sound came from.
Oh, it did?
That his part of his efforts. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, we'll put that link up in the show notes for sure. Wikipedia page anyway, and go from there. William Wilberforce. Don't see a name like that anymore. William Force. All right, ladies, do y'all have any current events, or y'all just want to go into talking?
No current event here.
Nope.
All right. All right. Well, let's talk about you guys. Look, I've got a white piece of paper.
I love it.
So let's start with Denise. You're talking. We'll let Katharine warm up a little bit more here. So what do you do at St. John's? Let's just start with that.
My name is Denise Whittington, and I came on as the music director last August. I've just moved to Georgetown, brand new this year. I am the music director for the church, so I play for the masses on the weekends and the school mass. I coordinate about 30 musicians. We have tons of talent in our
30.
church.
Wow.
We have about 30 in and out.
So
I was about trying
singers.
to get them all singers and instrument players.
Okay.
I also teach school, so I have the preschoolers up through 8th grade, and we do some school programs as well. And I've been training some young cantors in 4th grade and getting a children's choir together too.
So do you think? So is this your first time in a Catholic church in that role?
No, second time.
Second time.
But I've also taught in Catholic schools as well. I have a career that spans 30 years, and I've served in 8 different denominations. So I have a
8?
long history of church music.
8 denominations.
8 denominations.
Wow. I didn't know there were 8 denominations.
There's thousands.
I know. I was just kidding. Which one you like the best?
They're all good.
Okay. What? So you're a recent convert too, then, right?
Yes. I
So-
became Catholic last year.
And what attracted you to the faith?
Just the sense of history and the sense of tradition. I love the liturgy, and I love the spiritual awareness that comes about with the Catholic faith. I think there's a lot of facets. My saint for my conversion was Hildegard von Bingen, who's a mystic.
I got to write that down. Hold on.
Hildegard.
I think she might be related to a Wilberforce there.
Hildegard von Bingen.
Von
And she
Bingen.
was a mystic and also a musician.
Hildegard, man. Well, musician. I get the musician part of it.
Yes. She was a scientist. She was quite a woman of her time.
Hildegard of Bingen. There. Boom. That was like
There
the
you
first
go.
chart. She's like the first Hildegard that popped up. Interesting. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Awesome. So what you came? Did you come in the Diocese of Lexington or Louisville? Where'd you?
The Diocese of Owensboro.
Owensboro.
Where I was serving. Yes.
Owensboro. Who's the bishop there, Father?
Bishop Medley.
Medley.
He's from Louisville, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, William Medley. So I don't want to be the guy that asks us all the questions, fellows. So
You
More
get this.
questions.
I'm gonna do a segue move here real quick. Hold on, before you get your questions ready. Okay. So who's your favorite cantor at the church?
Definitely Catherine. No, we have some great musicians and great cantors. Catherine sings with me quite a bit. So does Anne. Mike Britch is great, but he has his men's group, so I don't get to work with him a whole lot. But They have fun. Stephen Demore's great. He's been running our sound on Sunday mornings for our Cardome masses.
That's
So we
been
have
good.
a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And then my little fourth grade girls have done a great job. So I've had some fourth graders that love decanter pre-COVID. But
We'll get to that
Pre-COVID.
in a second. Catherine, sorry, it's time. So you're a cantor, but you do so much more than that, right? I mean, how long have you been working at this parish now?
Too long.
Too
Feels
long.
like it. I started at St. John's School in 2014,
Wow. Okay.
teaching fourth grade,
Yeah.
and
You loved it.
yeah, it was like coming home
Yeah.
when I came here.
And where'd you come from?
I taught 2 years at St. Mary in Paris,
Small school.
very small, and a year in public school in Woodford County before that.
Much different, obviously, from public school. Right?
Very.
A lot more paperwork in public schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife teaches fourth grade in public school.
I was teaching middle school.
Whoa. God bless you. I mean, middle school's got to be hard to teach, right? I mean, the kids are at that age are getting je ne sais quoi attitudes, right?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges there. I had one class that through the year it varied from 32 kids down to 26, and kids would be there and then they'd be gone for a couple of months and then they'd come back, and
That's hard.
it was really challenging to try to reach all those kids, and I saw 126 kids every day.
Wow. How do you remember names like that?
It takes like 6 weeks at least.
Yeah. I mean, even for Denise, for you teaching music, I mean, it's got to be hard to know all the names, right?
I've met so many people.
Yeah. And then 126 students just rapid
Right.
fire through. I'm not very good with names. I'm good with faces, but I'm not good with names.
I'm terrible with names, so they had to stay in the same seats until I figured it out.
How about you, Padre? Are you good with names?
I think so. There's some skills I developed through the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always repeat the name at least 5-6 times.
While you're talking to them the first time?
You keep and repeat the name. Repeat the name.
I can be introduced to somebody. We exchange names. They walk away. It's gone. What's their name?
What was your
Whoa.
name?
Now
No.
you're fluent in Spanish, right?
Yes.
And did you live in South America or something for a while? Tell us a little bit about that.
I lived in Costa Rica, Central America, all through high
Central.
school.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. How did I not know that?
Yeah, she's a horse trainer too. She's a rider.
See, if you know Spanish in ministry, you're going to be busy.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. I can give you, let me tell you the advice Deacon John told me one time. And he listens. He listens to every show, so I know he's listening right now. But one of the things he said is, "Don't learn Spanish, because you will be so busy, it'll be beyond belief." And obviously, you've experienced that, even as you transitioned out of teaching into youth ministry, but still on the music side of it. Both of you. I mean, you don't speak Spanish. I mean,
I'm
you've probably
learning
picked.
a little bit of it.
Yeah, you've picked
yes.
up on it. Yeah, I mean that's just a huge ministry for us right now. A very dynamic.
Well, the
community.
fun part is because the bishop speaks Spanish, so everybody tries to speak Spanish, including many deacons and priests. So one of the priests came to me and says, "Lynn, what do you think I should learn Spanish?" I said, "You can't even speak English." I say, "Stick with English. Don't worry about it. People will love you."
We got it covered.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Questions? Go.
Now you're very busy because you're into the youth, the music, confirmation. And when is our confirmation coming out? Any time soon?
July 5th at the Sunday Mass
Two
at
Sundays from
9:30.
now.
I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the kids again because I really haven't seen any of them since COVID shut down. So
Now
I'm looking forward to get it done.
once we
Check
get confirmation done, we're done.
No.
Who else? We got the first communicants done, right? RCIA done. Confirmation. Who else we got?
We got about 22 Hispanic all sorts.
Plus about 5 of the
Yeah, but
confirmation
me and
candidates
Tim,
that can't be there.
me
on
and
the
Tim no hablo español.
But it's just, no, participando en la sete.
Yes. Well, I thought about it even after taking Deacon John's advice and not doing it. I still have downloaded Duolingo in Spanish, but I just can't seem to find the time. The time.
It's not the time, the immersion. It's not the language. It's about jump in, because most of them can, speak English decently, and we struggle together. The language is not the ability to speak. I'm not comfortable with Spanish either, but you kind of been there. Like today, I was preaching. There was a word, and I could not. The word confianza, and trust. That is, and I keep beating my head. I say, "Go ahead and say it, Father." It's in Vietnamese.
Well, we'll say in Vietnamese and see what happens.
I did say it. Then it come out. Everybody crack out laughing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our deacon brothers who were ordained with us are learning Spanish. Obviously, like you said, everybody's learning Spanish. Ramon, obviously, he's the golden boy now, right? He's just about at every ordination, reading the gospel in Spanish. And,
Fortini too.
Who's that?
Fortini.
Oh yeah. He's
How about Nickel?
yeah, Nick Nichols.
Got a lot of you speak Spanish well.
Well, Nick did what you said. I mean, he's done a lot of
Mission trips
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So let's go back to Costa Rica.
I'd love to. Can we go? Let's go.
So, what took you to Costa Rica?
My grandfather had retired and moved there. And I was living in Massachusetts with my mother in a very small town with a very wealthy population, I guess.
Right.
And we just, we live there because my family's been there for 200 years. So it wasn't really a pleasant experience in that environment. So I told my mom at the end of 8th grade, I said, I don't care where you send me, but I'm not going to high school here. So my grandfather had offered for my brother to come down there for a year when he was having a hard time, and he had turned him down. So she said, well, I can call your grandfather and see if you can go there for a year. And I said, okay, let's go. So off I went, and after a year, I said, can I go back, please?
So you didn't speak Spanish when you first went?
No, I'd had 2 years of middle school Spanish, which was not at all helpful.
Wow. So that's immersion.
Well, I mean, I went to an American school.
But still.
So, for the first year, I really didn't immerse myself a whole lot. I could order food at a restaurant and ask for where the restroom was and things like that. But I didn't really immerse myself until second year. I started making friends with some people at the barn where the horse was, and they had friends who didn't speak English. And we started hanging out and doing stuff together and had to learn at that point.
The horse business is full of Spanish-speaking people.
Well, and I've done that too.
Yeah.
Well, the job I had before I went to school to be a teacher, I worked on a thoroughbred farm, and I did all the paperwork for all the employees and all the I-9s and new hires and all that kind of stuff.
Spanish. Are you in the horse business?
My daughter is a big horse rider.
Yeah.
So we were at the barn from 9:30 to 3 today. She rode 4 horses.
That's a lot of horses.
But she took Spanish immersions. So she was in an elementary school where she did half of the day in Spanish. She did math and science in Spanish immersion from 1st through 5th grade. So she speaks pretty well.
But that's here, right?
No, that was in Louisville.
In Louisville.
She did that.
What school was that?
That was Hawthorne Elementary. It's the Spanish immersion school in
Wow.
Jefferson County.
So she's learning Spanish in an American
So
school
she's
in
doing
America,
pretty well.
right?
Yes.
You learned Spanish in an American school in Costa Rica. I think most people should learn Spanish now. What'd you take in high school?
Didn't take any.
You didn't take a language?
Nope.
I thought it requires, isn't it?
Yeah. How'd you
Didn't
not
take-
do that?
Didn't take anything.
I took French. Nobody uses French.
How's that working for you there,
It's
Tim?
not working very. It doesn't do a whole lot for
Oui,
me.
oui.
I can say.
We're going to have Mass in French now?
Yeah.
Well, Father Derek.
Father Derek used
Yeah.
to.
Do you remember Father Derek Van Deneker?
Was you
Was that
here when
before?
Yeah.
That's before my time.
Oh yeah, he
We
had
had him for a year.
He started a French mass, and then what happened?
He asked me to involve, and then who's the other? Who's that African priest? Bryce, Father Bryce.
Know that.
Father Bryce. So they want to start French mass. They want me involved, want Charles involved. I say, okay, when it starts, when you leave, what'll happen? They didn't listen,
And then he left.
and they left, and it died.
They died. Yeah. I guess they thought because you speak Vietnamese that you should be able to speak French, right?
Yeah, it's not a problem to celebrate, but yet now we have to do Spanish. Like I say, the more languages you speak, the pain you have to deal with. No way. I'm not about to step into the hornet's nest.
So, Spanish connects you all. Music connects both of you. So let's talk a little bit about the Hispanic ministry here. I mean, that's obviously a up and growing thing. You're learning Spanish. How hard is that in music? Does
It's easy to sing in Spanish.
yeah
Yeah.
harder to speak it? You think, and easier to sing it?
I just don't know it well. And my boyfriend is Hispanic. He's from South America. So we own businesses together where 90% of the business is Spanish. So
So you're going to learn it
Spanish
one way or the
speakers,
other.
I'm going to have to learn it one way or the other.
Does music? I mean, music like mathematics is a universal language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does music make it easier to learn Spanish? You think?
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, I think it can if you try. If you want to understand what you're singing. It's like singing in Latin or whatever language. If you learn to sing the song properly, it doesn't matter if you understand what it means. So if you're wanting to learn the language that you're singing, then you're going to have to put in the effort to learn it.
Right. It's kind of like me chanting at adoration close in Latin.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's
But if I only do
actually-
it once every blue moon, it's going to sound pretty crappy.
That's right. That
Right.
means you have to do regular. Dallas, could you include him on the closing at least twice a week, twice a month at
Twice a
least?
month. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but the language, when you sing, you actually speak slower.
Right.
Okay, singing pays out so you enunciation better. That's what in chant. That's what we do.
Yeah. I just I see that as just a great ministry that really kind of, I don't know, it that universal language, and the ministry's growing, and a good way to get involved. And you say, yeah, just follow along with the words, but then COVID hits, right?
Well, and our Spanish choir rocks. I mean,
But-
totally rocks. They have
They do.
tons of people involved, and they totally rock. It's fun to go do Spanish Mass. It's
I've walked in a few times. I thought, whoa, what's going on
And
here?
you walk out. I'm surprised. Yeah, you two have not deaconed with me at the Spanish
Oh,
Mass.
it's a blast.
See? That's something.
They're speechless.
I don't know how we have to do the gospel. I don't know how to read Spanish.
Oh, believe me, if
I've tried.
if-
My son knows Spanish pretty decent, and I've tried, and he just sits there and laughs at me. I'd be telling somebody something that
and listen,
I'd be
if Tom
insulting
Snyder from Good Shepherd, deacon, he barely able to speak Spanish at all, but he proclaimed the word beautiful. He practiced every Sunday.
I just don't want anybody to kill me because it sounds so bad. I mean, it's worse enough when I close adoration and just chant a little bit in Latin.
Latin.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope the internet feed drops.
Oh, salutatorious.
Yeah. Which it looks like we are having a little bit of issue with our internet feed. I don't know why we're on the same internet feed that we use for Mass, so we apologize. Hey, Marlita Upton just joined.
Hi, Marlita.
Hi, Marlita.
See, everybody knows Marlita. Using the same internet feed. So I'm not sure what's happening. I apologize. We apologize for that. Should be identical to what's going on at Mass, but Hey, we get it. So if it's herky jerky, and you want to tune back in later, we'll post the full video will post up, and we'll fix that. But that's what happens when you move, right? When you move into a different location, that's why we don't like to move. But we needed to move, so we moved. But anyway, let's get back.
No, but for me, I think I want to pitch the word, for both of them. Like Denise came at the right time. She has the full experience. She managed well, and great music ability. Release a lot of my headache. For Katharine, besides she have a teaching ability, and managed with young people, she jumped right in, and then. I got her for 2 prices of 1, She can sing well. And then,
Believe me, I know.
Oh, yeah. She does a lot of great works. So, appreciation both of you in that way. Unfortunately, many people not know you guys well enough. But that's
We're
the whole...
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean,
Show up
that's
for
There's
Mass
only
and
2
sing.
people that usually beat me to Mass, and that's sometimes you two. Sometimes Tim every once in a while.
well, it depends on the Mass, right? Yeah, I don't beat you to Cardone because you're here like at the crack of dawn. But no, I mean, I think that's one of the things that we've been trying to do here is get ordinary people with extraordinary lives, and obviously, your all's ministry is a critical part of our parish, and. People see somebody behind a microphone or meeting with the youth, which we'll get to the youth here in a minute. I mean, I'm sure that's challenging in and by itself. But, the music ministry side of it is such a critical part of how we celebrate liturgy, which is what you say drew one of the things that drew you to the faith, is so important and critical. A lot of times we just take it for granted until we don't have it, right? Because you've been through a few music ministers in your time here.
Only a few.
Just a few. Cue the music. So, but
the thing is, our folks have forgotten the time when it first came, and they have the thing called Cynthia,
I remember
I
that.
remember that.
and then people don't talk anymore. We have grown leap and bound with great musicians and tremendous growth, and you can tell when Marlita left. Remember when we kind of in the dry period tried to search, and it's dead. You can't celebrate without great music, sacred music.
See, Denise, that's when it would have been a great opportunity to say, Father, I need to talk to you after we're done here.
No, the thing about music is that when you have it, and if it's just okay, at least you have it, and you celebrate Mass and you go about it. But when it's gone, it changes everything, and that's when I think people start to look at it and say, "Man, I wish we just had the ability to sing." Because in some of those vacancies, did a good job. Katharine was in one of those vacancies, right? Bridging those gaps. A lot of people have stepped up to make it happen. But we do have a lot of people here that are talented, right?
Well, it's a wonderful team of people. Yes.
In the first few Masses we did when this all started, we didn't have music there, right?
Right.
Nobody in the pew, no music.
Yeah, it's a hard way to celebrate, which we've transitioned, right? We've done 5 Masses at Cardone now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we did 4, I think, 4 or 5 in church with nobody in there, and we all of us were participated in those, and very unique and challenging, right? The COVID experience. Hard to sing when there's nobody out there.
Yes.
Yes.
There's just not the energy and the spiritual connection that we have when all of us are uniting in prayer through music.
The other thing is when you mess up, there's no one else singing to cover it up for you.
I get that. It's like the prayer of communion, because like when we're saying that, I'm trying to get an angle on the words that are in front of you. You've got the right angle, and we're on the sides. And then if you just move one way or the other, I can't see all the words, so I make them up. And then when you do that and you're standing next to a live microphone or something like that, it matters, right? But nobody really notices those things. Really, they don't. We think they do, but nobody really notices those things.
My mom does.
Since you brought it up.
My mom tunes into every mass that I sing at here and at Good Shepherd,
Wow.
and we talk on the phone after.
She critiques you?
No, she's super supportive, but she'll be like, "Yeah, you kind of sounded tired today."
And your brother does that, right? He critiques
Yes,
everything.
it's your mother, it's my brother, and I love him dearly. But he'll find every little thing that's done something different or wrong.
He'll be like, why did Deacon Tim get up at the 12-minute mark? Well, Deacon Tim got up to try to adjust the internet to maybe improve it a little bit. So hopefully it happened. I would say it probably didn't, but hey, but who knows? So who do you have watching you, Denise, that points out all your flaws? Nobody?
No one.
Yeah, my
You're
wife.
safe.
My wife watches, but I don't know if she watches the whole thing or not. She did watch the homily. So my homily last week. So she gave me some good feedback on that. So
Well, I have to listen 3 times to make sure identify because everybody critique and they text me, email me. Oof.
about my homily,
Yeah,
yeah. I think they need to go back and listen to it again.
I know. That's
'Cause-
why I posted up. It's
Yeah,
okay.
because it wasn't political intentionally. Although Dallas said he was needed to sit down and talk to me about it because there's a couple things he wanted to point out. I can't wait for that. We should maybe do that over a beer. So, just saying. Anyway, how did we get on that topic? Our COVID experiences, right? So we've transitioned to Cardone. How is the music ministry? How does that feel at Cardone? Like it probably feels about the same as it did in an empty church, or
Well,
maybe a
it's
little bit.
been good. We've been having limited amount of singers just to limit our exposure. So it's been me and Rebecca Demore and Ann and Catherine. So the 4 of us pretty much are together.
So, can you get
And
the
Megan.
Megan,
Yeah.
yeah, Megan, and then the guys have not sung out there yet. No.
They're singing tomorrow.
This Sunday.
Steve's out there, right?
And Steve's always there.
Yeah, Steve Demore. How is cantering in that environment?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, people don't have hymnals, right? But some people you're trying to use familiar songs, right? So,
Well, we can't see much. There's a giant bush in front of us,
So we're
so
just
we
kind
really
of in
can't
the back
see
by
what's going
ourselves.
on.
Yeah.
But
So
you
it's
can
like you're in a
hear it.
studio.
Y'all stuck us behind a giant bush. If you notice, there's giant bushes everywhere.
And we're under a tent. So it's been good.
So you can't see. Can you hear people singing?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I think
thinking,
it sounds great too outside.
oh,
I mean, I
Steve
really- he
has
does a
done
great job.
an amazing job getting the sound
He's good.
set up. I mean, he gets there. I don't know if he gets there before you do, Dallas, but he gets there early, and not before you. No, nobody gets there before Dallas. But it's a really good setup that he has for the sound, and I think it projects way out all the way back to the back. So I just wish we had one of those parabolic microphones that they use on the NFL, Steve, where we could get the crowd noise. You know what I'm talking about? Those,
Oh,
you see those
yeah, that
guys
would be
standing out there?
fun.
So we,
With the big round thing.
yeah, those big parabolic mics. Yeah. And then we'd be when because I keep waiting for Father Lynn to say, "I can't hear you," and get him to say it louder. Because you used to do that in church all the time, but you have not done that one time at Cardone.
That's in church.
I know, but it's a way to get people engaged, right?
They're
Fire
all
'em up.
engaging.
Okay.
But it's so great to see so many people out because we can't fit that many at St. John. It's just been wonderful to have one community
This
worshiping
week,
together every
this
week.
Sunday, we'll see how it goes. Rain.
There's a
We're
four-letter
praying
word.
for sunshine.
Pray, pray, pray. That
Pray
four-letter
for
word
sunshine.
hopefully cancels out the other four-letter word, rain, rain, rain. So, Deacon Dallas, you get to make the call this
I
week.
am the official caller. You'll know that morning.
So he gets to make the call about whether we're going inside or out. So
Yeah, so instead of being behind a big bush, you'll be behind a big wall.
or looking out a window or whatever. So we'll we'll figure that out Sunday morning. Looking forward to that. Hey, let's talk just a little bit about youth ministry. So you're the youth minister for not just our parish, but also, Katharine, for Good Shepherd, right?
That's correct.
So it's got to be challenging in today's world, today's culture.
It is challenging. Engagement is our biggest hurdle, and finding a way to make youth ministry relatable, relevant, exciting, fun, something that the kids actually want to come to is almost impossible.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think most of that's culture?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine growing up in today's world. The amount of stress and pressure and instant gratification. It just
having to be entertained every minute of every day.
to me, it's got to be one of the hardest jobs in the whole church is youth ministry. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
I think there's so many other things now that are available to our youth that probably weren't as readily available when we were that age. You know, there's so much more youth sport involvement. There's so many other opportunities that, you know, when I was growing up, those things just weren't always there. So it's a battle against every other thing that they want to do.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be on the kids' list going to church and going to youth group, or is that
It's at the very bottom.
Yeah, it's
Faith is no longer significant. You know, it's just one of those fulfillment.
It's been replaced.
Yeah.
A lot of big time national folks trying to make changes there, though, right? I mean, there's some big public speakers and stuff, and I know Deacon, is it John Brandon? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I know they try to bring people in and try to energize things, and a lot of work being done, right?
Yes, but then, you know, even when you bring somebody in, even just getting them to show up for that event, you know, it's
a lot of work.
It's difficult to find that appeal of this is going to be really fun, but it's only going to be fun if a lot of you come, you know.
Right.
And that's the thing that I struggle with youth group is it's not as much fun with 4 or 5 kids. You know, we can't do a lot of the things that I would like to do when only 4 or 5 kids show up.
Right.
You know, and so I tell them, well, okay, did you guys have a good time? Yes. Okay, well, next time bring a friend because it'll be even more fun if there's twice as many of you.
But we have the same problem with the adults too.
It's true.
Which I'm sure that affects you, right? It's hard for us to keep adults in their faith.
Yes.
And it trickles down to the kids.
Yep.
You know, one of the criteria I think for the work that you do very successful is the Catholic heart.
Yes.
Catholic heart, the mission work. We travel
Catholic
once a
heart
year.
work.
Work camp, yeah.
Camp. Mm-hmm.
Heart work. Heart work.
Heart
camp.
work camp.
Yes.
Okay.
And once a year we travel 1 week somewhere, and then got kids involved to work, help, clean everything, and kids love it.
Lots of people there, right? I mean, busloads.
You know,
Yes.
one of the concept that I have to bring up, Bishop Bob Barron is one of the criteria that young people are excited is social justice. That's a big thing. Okay, beauty and all of that, but social justice, the thing the kid want to involve, and very effective, and that's required a lot more engaging in that.
Yeah, and social justice, the environment, all those things are big hot topic things that are energizing the younger generations, and I think that's one of the reasons that Laudato Si was so important for the church. But again, it's just so much to compete with, so much so many different. I don't know. I'm not going to call it forces, but I guess it could be called forces, pulling people in different ways. But Bishop Barron's done a good job of digitalizing, as much as he can. His Bible, did everybody see his new Bible that was coming out?
Mm-hmm.
The Gospels. He printed a beautiful Bible, just the Gospels. Sold out in 20 minutes. he said they thought they would sell 50,000 units, and they sold 50,000 units in the first hour. So he has a knack for creating stuff that people want to buy, and hopefully energize their faith as well. And trying to find that special thing to energize the youth, I think is what we're all looking for, the Holy Grail, trying to find the Holy Grail there. Yeah. So tough job.
Keep doing it. Keep plugging it.
Same thing with adult catechesis, right? Tough job. Nobody has the time, really. Isn't that what it kind of boils down to in a roundabout sort of way? We're pulled in so many, and all of us sitting around this table are the same way, right? We got so much going on in our lives. You say I need to do more adoration closes, and I see my wife just joined. She's probably watching right now, and she's probably thinking he needs to do less. But we all don't you feel that way too, though? With your church ministry, you're doing a lot, right?
Yes.
Right.
But that's one of the things that I felt about the whole COVID quarantine is I think it showed everybody how busy we keep ourselves, and how maybe some of that busyness really isn't as important as we thought. We've all kind of survived the quarantine fairly whole, I hope. And maybe some of the things that we thought were super duper important are the things that we haven't been able to do. And maybe we found ways to slow down and spend more time with our families and hopefully engage more with our faith and things like that we kind of let slide because everything else was so much more important. But when we couldn't do all that other stuff, you kind of go, oh, well, wait a minute. I've missed all these other things.
I mean, and I think if you look at like some of the things that are sold out at stores, swimming pools are sold out, basketball goals are sold out, umbrellas that go on your decks, bicycles,
flour.
Yeah, all those things that are family. I call them family. Not events, family activities. Sold out. I mean, it just changes your perspective, changes your focus. But will it stick?
I don't know. I still see a lot of people walking in our neighborhood, way more than, and we've been in our house almost 5 years, and way more people are still walking the neighborhood now, even though things have opened back up a bit, than did in years past.
I agree. You see a lot more people on Main Street, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to ask you because you live out in the country.
Down the boonies.
Denise, do you see a lot of people walking around where you
I'm
live?
mostly at home at the barn.
Yeah, so you don't see, but
I see horses.
yeah, I live in Canewood, and it's definitely that and golf carts. Somebody allowed golf carts in our neighborhood, and it's just an accident waiting to happen. I saw
Those are all sold out too, by the way.
Yeah, and they're like, you know how much those are? A golf cart can be like $8,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
There's got to be like $10 million worth of golf carts in Canewood, and I saw one the other day had 8 kids in it, and it's just like they were swerving trying to throw the kids off of it. It's an accident waiting to happen. But I get upset when I see that because I'm a rules guy. I like rules. I know y'all might find that hard to believe. I'm a rules guy.
Shocker.
But in a way, I'm glad to see that because at least they're outside and not, on their phones sitting somewhere. So.
Well, we have so many more ladies that joined the Ladies League out at Canewood this year that have just started playing golf because their husbands play golf and they had nothing better to do during quarantine. So they all went out and got clubs and learned how to play.
And Canewood Open was one of the first courses to open. And, I was like, wow, look at all these people playing golf. Because it was something you could do, right?
Yep.
And they could socially distance. Usually by the time they got to the 17th hole, which is where I live, they weren't doing a very good job at social distancing. So I got my bullhorn out, and it has a little siren on it. And I said, put the siren on and tell them to socially distance.
They love you.
They love me. Especially the ones that hit my house with golf balls.
I never tried that. Let me try that next time.
Tell me which one's your house and I can hit it.
The 16.
17th.
Father usually hits them other houses, but he's never hit yours yet.
I never thought about it. But here's how kind of in.
Well, you really got to work hard to hit my house. You got to
me.
work at being bad to hit my house. And it happens.
I could
all the
hit
time.
your house. That's how bad I am.
And then people try to play it off like, wasn't me. And I'm like, dude, you're the only one around. Okay, it just happened. I walk out and you're standing over there. I mean, what the heck's going on? But it is good to see people out and about. It's good to see people exercising more and spending time with their families, right? I mean, that's maybe that'll translate into youth ministry. You know, the whole COVID thing, you know, there's a lot of talk about, will Catholics come back to church?
It's a big question.
I mean, I think it's a question that is going to challenge our faith. I think Gus Lloyd talked about that. One of the guys that was on the show a few weeks ago, he talked about it on the show this week about how people are preparing that it's going to be a much smaller church, just the way it's going to happen. So it's kind of scary, but it's also, you know, the people that are coming to church are going to be hopefully on fire. Their faith's going to be on fire. Right. So you're a recent convert. Are you a cradle Catholic or a convert?
Convert.
When did you convert?
2015.
Wow, she's a new convert too. You're still in the honeymoon phase.
I call myself a toddler Catholic.
Toddler Catholic. I like that. So you're an infant Catholic and she's a toddler.
So you came in here?
Yes.
Father Lynn? Yeah.
Yes.
Did Father Lynn recruit you? You know, because the Catholic schools recruit in high school sports. So did he recruit you?
No, he actually told me I wasn't ready yet when I told him I wanted to.
You actually told somebody they weren't ready? I didn't think you ever did that.
Oh, I
Don't
said
you
a lot
remember when
to
we went into the diaconate?
Oh, well, that's a different discussion. He told everybody no on that, but I didn't think you'd ever tell anybody no, that they weren't ready on.
Oh, believe me, I
RCIA.
say plenty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So she wasn't ready, but here she is.
Well, about a month later, it was okay then.
Okay. So you learned something in that month.
I guess.
2015, 2019.
He learned something. He learned she could speak Spanish.
Oh, she speaks Spanish.
Come on in.
She's in. She gets
You're
a
in.
free pass. You get a hall pass right to the front of the line. You're the first one to be. Were you baptized before, or were you baptized?
I was baptized in the Episcopal Church when I was 5.
Okay. And were you baptized?
I was baptized by my Southern Baptist.
Okay. So.
My dad was a Southern Baptist minister.
Oh.
My dad baptized me when I was 7.
Wow. So, wow, that's another, that can be a whole discussion right there. Your father is a Southern Baptist and you're a Catholic. Is he still alive?
Mm-hmm.
What's he think about that?
I'm still ministering, still spreading the gospel.
Wow.
So
Okay. Well, because some Baptists wouldn't look favorably on that. You know that, right?
well, and some Catholics think Catholics is all there is too. So
Well, yeah. Well, when you're a cradle Catholic and you're still in the faith and you haven't left and become a nun, N-O-N-E, N-O-N-E, not you don't become a nun, and you're still practicing your faith, you kind of think, yeah, the Catholic Church has it going on. I know Dallas thinks that way.
Absolutely.
If you watched our interview with Gus Lloyd, he specifically said he thinks everybody in the world should be Catholic. Now, there's a lot of people that don't believe that, right? There's a lot of bishops that don't believe that, right? Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
No,
I mean,
become or not, because Catholic is the Catholicity. What it,
Right.
Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah.
No, not just universal.
well, he
it is-
doesn't start a church and not want you to be part of it. I mean,
Right.
it really comes down
It's
to that.
ground rooted. It's rooted.
Yeah, there's a lot of theology there to that statement that you just said. I mean, we could spend multiple shows talking about that. But generally, I think that most Southern Baptist, I've worked with a Southern Baptist guy 22 years now, and he's trying to convert me, and I'm trying to convert him. He's a pastor. He's working on his PhD at the Theological Seminary in Louisville. Great guy, love him to death, great friend of mine. But we have our differences, and we know what they are. And he respects me, and I respect him. He thinks he's right, and I think I'm right. So.
and I think that's been the most interesting. I actually got my master's degree at Southern Seminary
Okay.
in church music many, many years ago. But I think that's been the most interesting thing, being a musician in the church and being in 8 different denominations and having friends throughout all of the faiths.
No, and I you know, I respect all those faiths, right? I mean, the church used to teach that the only pre-Vatican II, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here. Pre-Vatican II, you had to be Catholic to have salvation. Church doesn't teach that anymore.
Well, it does teach all salvation comes through the church.
Through the church.
Okay.
Yes. Semantics, Dallas. I'm glad you're here.
Well, that's in case anybody's at home going, what did I just hear him say? Okay.
Right. So, and if a Baptist minister was here, he would say that you can only get salvation through Jesus Christ. Period. So I think there are some theological differences, and that might be a good show to have sometime. Just talk through those. You actually had some time with was it a Presbyterian minister? You did your talk at Slante.
Todd Raspberry?
Was he's Baptist, right?
No, he's Presbyterian.
Presbyterian. So when you get into those different 8 denominations, that's a lot. I mean, I guess the theology of music is pretty uniform, right? I mean,
No,
the
it's
liturgy.
not.
And
It's
they're
not?
really,
No?
well,
Sacred music not allowed. Our sacred music is not.
Ours. Catholic
yeah.
Catholic sacred music is different from everybody else's
Yes.
music. Okay.
It require a lot.
I mean, your deacon just a couple weeks ago was up there singing a non-Catholic hymn from the pulpit.
And he admitted,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
I admitted it was bad theology, remember?
You did. You did. You did.
And our music people sang it anyway. Yeah.
It's still a great song.
And I admitted it was a great song. I love it.
I still can't believe it was that many years ago. So,
And I was surprised too when I looked it up. I was like, wow, 2001
wow.
when that came out.
We're getting old. All right. One last question for each of you. Actually, there's going to be 2 questions. The first question is, what is something we should know about you that we don't know? Who wants to go first? If you want all the viewers to know. Actually, all the parishioners to know.
Can we come back to that one? What's the
Sure.
other question?
That's
I
the
have
last
no
question.
idea.
The second question. What
Could you
about
given a little heads up on that one?
No, there are no pre-questions disseminated to our guests. It's a rule we have. Who is a person that you think we should have on the show?
That's another one you didn't give them time to think about.
I know.
Father Lynn, what is something somebody should know about you that they don't know?
Something that people need to know about me.
But they don't know.
They don't know yet. I've been 13 years.
Yeah. They pretty much know. Everybody knows everything about you.
I doubt it.
Nobody knows anything about you?
I bet you this. I don't know. I'm very introvert.
Well, I knew that.
You do. Not everybody know.
You know, we could have like one of those game shows where we try to predict the answers of the clergy and the musicians and staff. That'd be a good show to have.
There you go.
Like a panel
Mm-hmm.
game show at like a fundraiser. I was going to say, put me in charge of fundraising. Not. We'll leave that to
Chuck
Chuck
Comer.
Comer, who did tune in tonight. So, by the way. So, okay, that's what I was called. I was giving it a little stretch there, stretching it down a little bit. So, if y'all don't have an answer, that's fine. I mean, you did tell us a lot. The whole Costa Rica thing was a
Okay,
big
so-
deal.
That you didn't know about.
That I didn't know about. 8 denominations that I didn't know about. Those are big things, right?
Okay, so after high school, went to Midway College. I got a degree in equine management and worked on thoroughbred farms in Lexington for several years and broke probably over 3 years about 80 racehorses.
Wow.
I thought she was going to say, I broke every bone.
And I've never broken a single bone.
Yeah. So I was thinking she was going to say the same thing. And so like, that's a good commercial not to be in the horse business.
No, I've never broken anything.
Oh, good. So the whole racehorse thing. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, if you want to be in horses in Kentucky, that's pretty much where you got to go because there's not any money to be made anywhere else.
Well, there's not any money to be made really in the horse business in general. People that are in the horse business have money, right? So
True.
and occasionally you get somebody that gets lucky, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of money in horses. People spend wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. There is a lot of money in horses being spent. So, all right. So, Denise,
Me?
yeah, anything?
I am working on my doctorate degree at University of Cincinnati at College Conservatory of Music. I finished the coursework in 2012, so I am studying for my written exam as we speak. So
Wow.
we'll see when I can get that done.
So we had to call you Dr. Denise.
No.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Are you a realtor?
No, I do not have my real estate. I do have my insurance agent's license. though.
Insurance? Oh, that's what I was saying.
And you sell peaches.
And I sell peaches. I'm becoming quite an entrepreneur. This is what happens when you date one and you're a musician. And he thinks you should make more money.
Well,
than
COVID.
being a musician.
COVID makes people think in different ways too, right? So
And you'll never get rich working for the Catholic Church, right?
Or being a musician, either one.
Yeah.
or selling peaches.
Well, we're doing okay selling
Oh,
peaches.
well, maybe we should sell peaches too.
Fundraiser.
Yeah. Come to St. John's and buy peaches. Actually, come to, it's the bank there by Canewood, right? Isn't that where you're at? Yeah.
Yes.
The
So-
bank? What bank?
People's Bank.
You sell peaches there?
Yeah. They're
How the hell
letting
I don't
us
know
sell
about that?
peaches there.
Tune in to
It's only
Deacons
our
Discussions and
third
Drinks, man. You'll
weekend.
find
Huh?
out everything you want to know about somebody right here.
It's only our third weekend selling this weekend.
What bank?
People's Bank.
People's Bank? And do you have a peaches stand there?
We do.
When are you there?
And they're
We're
fresh.
there 12 to 5, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, Saturday and Sunday.
It's
12 to
my
5.
daughter's first job, so she's been the entrepreneur helping me get all the stuff together.
Are you paying her minimum wage?
No, more.
You shouldn't say that on the
You know any hard peaches? You sell hard peaches? Hard?
Hard peaches?
Yeah.
What's a hard peach? What the heck?
You pick it early?
Yeah,
Not
pick it
right.
early.
Yeah.
Well, they're all picked early, right? They've got to be right when
No,
they come to you.
I'll eat them. It's not ripe.
All right, let's go to Saint of the Day.
Hey, that's why the people don't know that.
I get it. Hey, Saint of the Day. I picked the saint today because it's. I didn't like who Franciscan picked for today. They actually picked a non-saint. They picked a blessed. Franciscan because of Franciscan media. But I picked tomorrow's saint of the day, Saint Cyril of Alexandria. Anybody want to tell me why he's important? I already told Dallas. What's the one thing that makes him important? Anybody? Okay, listen.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for June 27th. Today we celebrate Saint Cyril of Alexandria. Cyril, recognized as a great teacher of the Church, began his career as Archbishop of Alexandria, Egypt, in the early 5th century. In this role, his sometimes violent actions included pillaging and closing the churches of heretics, and confiscating the property of Jews in retaliation for their attacks on Christians. Cyril's overall importance lies in the role he played in fighting the Nestorian heresy, centered around the two natures, human and divine, in Christ. Nestorius believed that Mary was not the mother of God, but only of the man Jesus. He implied that Christ's humanity was merely a disguise. As the Pope's representative at the Council of Ephesus in 431, Cyril condemned Nestorianism and proclaimed Mary truly the Theotokos, or God-bearer, the mother of the one person who is truly God and truly human. In the confusion that followed, Cyril was deposed and imprisoned for 3 months. After that time, he was welcomed back to Alexandria, where he adopted a policy of moderation that kept extreme partisans under control. Cyril died in 444. There's more about the saints along with inspiration and Catholic resources at our website, saintoftheday.org. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
Theotokos,
Theotokos.
God bearer. That's what Cyril's all about. Theotokos. Well, we're at the end of the show, ladies, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Glad you're here.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
It wasn't as hard as you thought it would be, was it?
It's fine.
Wasn't as
I
bad as.
talk all the time. It's all good.
Well, we do thank you for coming, and the
Oh,
next
thanks
time
for
you,
having us.
the next time you come back, it'll even be easier.
There's going to be a next time?
Yeah, there will be there will be a next time.
It depends what the comments say when we're done with that reading.
Yeah, because and you didn't give us a future guest, so we just have to plug your name back in to the rotation. That's the way that works. If you don't want to come back, you have to give us a name. So anyway, we thank you guys for coming. I learned a lot, and I'm sure the folks learned a lot. We did get one question that I see Mike Bell wants to know if the church organ is functional. I don't think we have a church organ anymore, do we?
We do.
Is it functional?
Yeah.
Need some help? Needs a donation?
Oh, major donation. I want a pipe organ.
How much would that cost?
Depend $300,000, $400,000. How many pipe you need?
Okay, let's start smaller.
Well, let's look at the organ clearinghouse. There are always churches trying to sell organs. So,
Yeah, so if somebody's out there where they want to donate funds for an organ, they can do that, right?
Oh, definitely.
absolutely.
And the best way for them to do that is to go to ssfj.org. That's ssfj.org. You can donate for all of our ministries there, all the special collections, all the weekly offertories, ssfj.org. And if you want to donate for a $100,000 pipe organ, just put that in the memo line and just write the check, right, Father?
Oh, yes.
We'll take your money. But the organ at church is owed and needs help. So contribute money, donate money. And if you want to donate to Deacons Discussions and Drinks, we'll take your money too, because we don't like hopping around. This is great. We love being in Cardome. There's a little bit of an echo in here. Our internet feed messed up just a little bit. So next week we're off, right? Everybody's off next week. You okay with that?
Yes.
Y'all have Mass with the Bishop, right? Are you excited about that?
No.
Y'all excited about Mass with the Bishop?
No.
Yes.
Confirmation. How many we got? Confirmande.
I believe there will be 38 of them there on Sunday.
Wow.
And
There were 44 total.
this coming Sunday is the first time we will attempt walk-up communion, right, Father?
This coming Sunday, we attempt walk-up communion. Yes.
Unless it rains. Or no,
We're praying for sun.
Yeah. If it rains, we're still going to do it. Right?
Oh, yeah. It'll rain to do it. We got
We're-
tent for it.
We got tents.
Yeah.
There you go. We just got to get Jesus out to the tents.
Yes.
So bring lots of purificators, okay, Dallas?
I already thought of that.
Okay.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff going on in the parish. So we're going to take a week off from Deacons Discussions and Drinks. Don't forget about us, because in the week following that, the July 10th. July 10th. Yeah. July 10th, we will have Lavinia Spirito with us, founder of Catholic Way Bible Study. She's going to be joining us. That should be a great discussion. So just let us know if you got any suggestions or ideas about the show. We love doing it. We love talking to people in our parish. We like talking to people outside of our parish. I know Deacon Dallas has got some people on his list. I'm waiting to see if he can pull one of those big fishes. Father Lynn, you still need to pull a big fish too. Don't forget. Guest.
I got both of them here.
No, national level. You keep saying you can. Who did he say he could get?
The Pope, I think it was.
Was it the Pope? He said somebody. just. I mean, if you want to get Pope Francis, we'll take him. Bishop John, right? I'll leave that one up to you too.
That's easy.
Okay.
If you want a controversial.
If I want to what?
Controversy.
It would be controversial.
Yeah.
Really? I don't think so. I control the mics. No, I mean, I think, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of anything on here. So I think it's just a discussion. Just like I said at the beginning, it's just a discussion. And, people have a story. All people have stories. But you told us, was it Jimmy Aiken? Who did he say?
I can't remember.
But you said you could get them, so get them. Go get them. We need guests.
It might have been Scott Hahn.
It was Scott Hahn. Scott Hahn. He's on your list. You got to go get him. All right. As always, if you're watching on Facebook, please hit the like button, leave a comment, question, preferably a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, because we like subscribers. And if we get to 1,000, which we're a long ways away from that, lots of magical things happen when you get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other on the podcast side of it, please hit subscribe as well and leave a rating if you can. And I already talked about ssfj.org. So at the end, do you guys have anything else y'all want to talk about?
No, we're all good.
Nope.
I think we're good.
Dallas, you're up, man. You get the blessing tonight.
May the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with all of you.
And with your spirit.
And may Almighty God bless everyone here and out there in the radio waves. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. And until next week, I'm Deacon Tim.
I'm Deacon Dallas.
I'm Father Lynn.
And who are you all?
Katharine Coleman.
Denise Whittington.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night. Hey.
See ya.
Did you ever stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready? Let me be honest, I don't know one single thing that I haven't done to make you notice.